All right, welcome to episode, I guess one, technically, right? I think the last one was.
Uh,
Are we considering the introduction
yeah,
episode,
yeah,
episode
we're
one?
considering that first episode, so this is episode two.
Okay, so episode two. Welcome to episode two of Three Boys, One Dad. Um, no dad today, simply because Turtle is actually the reason why he's not here. He was. I texted him was. He is working 20-hour days right now.
That
So
would
he is,
suck.
yeah, he's quite literally working like all day long. On
Sounds
top of
awful.
that, it's I don't know. I feel bad for him. He's exhausted like every day he comes home. Like he barely like he texts me and he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I haven't been on in like a week or two just because we've been working 20-hour days every day. Like that's rough." That and I think it's either this weekend or next weekend. I think it was. I think it must be next weekend unless it was this weekend already. But I think his wife is hosting a baby shower for somebody. So he had a ton of like he sent me a picture and it was like literally a solid like notebook page full of like to-do list stuff. Like a column on the left and right. So that man, he had a ton of stuff to do.
Ooh.
So he's busy. So no dad today, so it's just the three boys. Um Moving on to topic number one. We talked about this a little earlier, which was Among Us. Um Nelly has you have a little bit of experience playing the game, obviously.
I've got um the hours. I've got about 16 and a half hours into it right now.
Okay, not bad.
A fair
So
amount.
Mezzy and I's first time playing Among Us was last night. Um there are Among Us is quite fun. So looking at my Steam, I've got 5.7 hours, so about 6 hours. So Mezzy's probably got about 4 to 5.
I think I've got like 1.8 actually.
We're really only on for that long?
Yeah, I only played like three or
He got on about
three to
like
five rounds.
Dang.
midnight and
Okay.
then mid to like 2.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. Um Among Us, what's your thoughts and opinions on it so far then?
No.
Um, Good content. Can be competitive, but also can be just like complete chaos. But I think the chaos is what makes it so fun, and having friends and then these people that you like trust trying to create this alibi, and you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I believe him, and then all of a sudden you're getting shanked in the back of a ship corner and by this person,
Yeah,
and he's like,
that,
I saw someone else do it, and you're like, no, what?
that was
No.
so fucking relatable because like I'd be running along with somebody, they wouldn't do anything to me, and I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty trustworthy. Like he didn't just fuck me over in that several times that he could have. So I'm gonna build an alibi with him, and then the next round they come and fucking kill me, and I'm like, you bastard! You just turned on me that quick after I tried to save your ass. How dare you?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the strats to like. I've seen like a third imposter, I think is what they call it, is where you have the two imposters and you try and lead one of the regular people into believing that you're good by staying with them the entire game and having them vouch for you, and then at the last second killing the person and having the third imposter be like, "Oh, it was obviously not this person because I was with them the entire game." And you'd be like, "Yeah, 100%."
The
So
last night we played a couple games and man, that was so much fun. Um, the thing that made it really fun too was being with it was Nico's group of friends and not really knowing any of them, but the fact that everybody played it like just the same. Like there was no like I don't know you, so I'm gonna say you're it. But like legitimately, like it was just like a bunch of group of friends, just like everybody trying to create an alibi. And man, it was. I tell you, that is one of the like the most fun I've had in a long time playing a video game. And to be honest, I'm usually not a huge fan of party games. But man, that was worth the $5. That's for sure.
I
yeah,
totally agree.
it's
I do not like party games, but this game is a lot of fun.
I remember
Yeah.
when I was telling you guys about it, like I don't know, a month and a half ago. I'm like, hey guys, this game looks pretty good, and it's only like $5. And you were pretty hard set at that point, thinking like, it's a party game. I don't know if I'd be interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Party games never just.
I don't think you actually knew it was $5. I think you were anticipating to spend like 15 or 20 on it.
15 or 20,
And you'd almost be willing
probably.
to pay like for like 20 hours, and you feel like it wouldn't be a fair like investment because you wouldn't be getting your time out of it.
Yeah, well, because was the most recent party game that came out right before Among Us was Fall Guys, and Fall Guys, I was just looking at it, and Fall Guys was like $20 or $15 as well, and
Yeah, it's $20.
even like watching it, I was like, it's really fun to watch, but I know for a fact if I'd have played that, I'd have been like, I'd have as soon as I know the maps, I'd have been done. It'd have been boring as like all
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. It's just it just
because
doesn't
you
feel
know
like it's
there's
got
yeah there's just that
enough
random there's no
diversity.
randomness to it. That's the thing that makes party games fun, right? Is there's got to be a lot of randomness to it, right? You can't be able to predict what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I
Um,
always wanted to try like Pummel Party, which is kind of like a newer version of like the Mario Party game from
yeah, yeah.
Nintendo.
I think I've seen that.
It's pretty fun. That's pretty random, and they have some pretty fun game modes.
Is that the one where you have the four little monsters that are all fighting each other?
Um, no, I think what you're thinking about is I know what you're talking about, but
What's it
that's
called?
not it. I think it's Pummel Party. I mean, I can see real quick.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is it. Pummel Party. It's just like Mario Party, but with a little.
Gotcha.
They've got some fun, interesting maps. Like there's one where you
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I've
This
seen
reminds me of
this.
something way back in the
like
day.
you like you. There's like a Tron one. There's like a one where you have to roll like an
Yeah,
avalanche
yeah, yeah.
ball. If you get pushed off, you lose. So there's like
I have seen a couple of YouTube videos of this, and that was pretty entertaining. Yeah,
looks pretty fun. I don't know how much it is. It's probably like $20, I guess.
but yeah,
Fusion Frenzy. Did you guys ever play that game on Xbox? Like original Xbox?
I didn't have an original Xbox.
Oh, okay. Pummel Party is basically the new version of that.
Okay, Fusion
Cause like
Frenzy,
the
interesting.
first two clips in that first trailer on Steam, like the balls knocking each other off of the platform, and then the little bikes with the laser beams behind them. Both of those I remember vividly being back in Fusion Friend, and I would play that game by myself with fucking AI for hours a day, and I thought it was the funnest thing ever.
Dude, yeah, games like that, man. Those are the I feel like that's kind of the resurgence now of these party games. Is they're kind of bringing back these old ones that people used to play. You know, back in the day when you'd invite your friends over to your house and you guys would bring Doritos and order fucking, Taco Bell and a pizza, and you guys would just play all night and play party games like this. And those are the
Stay
times,
up
man.
literally all night.
Literally all
Go
night.
to
Yeah.
sleep at like 4 or 5 a.m. Once
Yeah.
your dad
Which
comes walking out and is like, "What the fuck?"
what are you guys still doing up? Yeah, yeah. That's what I do last night. I mean, yeah, I know you guys. You got off around what 1 or 2, right?
One, yeah.
Yeah, and Nelly got off. You got off around 2 a.m. But man, yeah, I was up with. I joined a couple other groups, and yeah, we were up to like 4 a.m. And man, yeah, it was Among Us. Definitely was is a lot of fun. I have found playing with a 10 man and 2 imposters was definitely like a lot more fun than playing with 6 man and 1 imposter because
Oh yeah.
it's just way harder to do imposter things when there's only 5 people because it's so hard to like
Exactly.
it's almost impossible to corroborate a story that sounds reasonable when 3 of the people are like right next to each other and you're like, yeah, this guy was off on his own. Seems fishy to me. All right, he's it. And then they
Yeah.
vote you off, and then it's true because you're like, well, I'm the killer. I can't just stand around 4 people and not kill someone. So
Yep.
I don't know how they could fix that issue. I think they
Well,
just.
they're making a second game.
Oh, are they?
They made enough. I'm guessing enough revenue from this one that they can get a second one out. They're doing like small updates. The update where the servers are better now is actually so nice. It used to be it would take someone would create a lobby and it'd take you probably 4 or 5 minutes to get all 10 people in.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Last
I
night was
heard
pretty
that last
fluid.
night. I think it was you that mentioned that, and somebody agreed with you that you guys said the servers used to be pretty bad, but now they're pretty
Yeah,
good. So
it used
I
to
mean,
instead of six-figure codes, it used to be four, and sometimes there'd be more than one four-figure code because there can only be a certain amount of number. I mean, if there's 400,000 people actively on right now, I mean, how many alphabetical digit
yeah,
codes
yeah.
can you create?
There's only so many.
There's only so many, so there'd be like doubles, and you'd pop into a random other lobby with like 2 people, and then they'd start it up. So they really fixed that part of it. But yeah, I think they're working. I think they said they're working on a second among. It'll have some.
Like
Well,
Among Us 2, you're
quality
gonna have
of
to
life.
pay for that as well, or they're just gonna add it on to
No, if
this
you're
one?
so if you currently have Among Us One, I think they're gonna give it to you for free. But if you
Okay.
don't have Among Us One, it'll be like the same price as the first one.
That's fair. That's cool. Yeah, no, I mean for $5, man, that's definitely worth it. It's a great party game. Even it's relatively friendly enough and easy to pick up that even somebody like me and Mezzi who would never play the game and we're able to keep up with people who have been playing the game. But of course, it comes down to your friends being kind enough to like teach you things, and tell you specific items and be like, oh yeah, this does that or this does that, and when this happens, you do this.
Yeah,
And that makes a big difference. But
you can only do so much as the first rounds, like especially if you're an imposter and you're thrown into it without knowing what the hell's supposed to happen.
oh yeah, I was my first round. I was imposter. And I was like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing,
It
but
can be pretty
yay!
hard. Yeah, I remember you saying that. I was like, he could just be like a bad
Yeah,
guy with not any idea. Because if anyone had asked you like, hey, what tasks have you done, you would have been like, I don't know.
yeah.
You couldn't even describe.
I wouldn't even be able to describe a single task, man. I didn't even know there were wires. People are like, yeah, I'm doing wires. I'm like, what does that mean? What are wires?
Why? I mean, there's like, I think the tasks are what make it so fun. Like there's been some really like ballsy kills before where you've done oxygen and then four people pile onto one thing and the killer murders someone on top of that body and be like, someone in this pile killed them, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you have four suspects
yeah.
unless like they vouch for each other. But yeah, it can be like really hectic and crazy. Like if you want a chaos round, go into a round and murder just blatantly in front of public people and start reporting it and see what happens. Because those games get crazy. Like the
one
more
thing,
mango.
one
Single
thing I think I would appreciate Among Us to do would be it's weird as I say, I want a bigger map, and by bigger I just mean like I want people to be even more spread out to make the kills like a little easier for the imposters. I think a bigger map would be good for small groups, and then obviously the smaller maps are a little bit, and the medium maps can be entertaining for large groups because
The
that's
fire
when you get
one,
the chaos.
the fire one's probably the biggest. I think
Yeah,
it might be up there with that like hallway one. I don't like the hallway one because it's so linear, and then
linear.
there's
That I mean, it was so easy for me to keep track of people going up and down in which direction that when I found a body, I was instantly like, oh, this person's it because this is the only person I saw go in this
yeah,
direction.
there's only one route.
Yeah,
Like the other one, like the flame one has multiple routes. Like you can go in a vent, or you can go down the bottom path, and then there's a middle path, and then there's a top one over by the ship path. So there's lots of different ways you can go about
you know,
maneuvering around the
I
body.
think what they could do to change it up would be after you complete like one or two tasks, there's a chance for your task to just completely move and change in order to have people like maybe potentially just change, like if they're walking one direction and following somebody and they're both totally safe and they're both going to oxygen to do something, and then suddenly one guy's task just completely changed and he starts going the other way, that you'd never know if it was just his task changing and now his tasks are on the other side of the map, or if it's if he was a killer that's decided that he's not going to kill you. I think that could add a little interesting, aspect to the game if your tasks were to just randomly change sometimes.
Yeah,
But
I'm interested in seeing what they do with the second game.
yeah, it'll be a good time. So, moving on from Among Us. Recently, I'm sure a couple people have seen this, but the 3080s from Nvidia came out, and that has been more controversial than I honestly anticipated.
See, I don't know too much about it, so you have to.
I don't know a ton about it. I just know that it sounded like people were disappointed by what they were advertising because they were saying that the performance would be better, but it wasn't performance and like entirely performance wise. It was like a performance via like a specific card or something. And so people were disappointed by I guess the numbers that the card was producing. It was only like I can't, again, like I said earlier, I can't remember if it was the 2080 or the 1080 that they're comparing it to, but it's a 60% increase in performance, but it's the same price as whatever their most recent card was. I think it's like
it would be more kind of controversial if it was only better than the 1080 by 60%.
yeah,
It'd make more sense to be like that. People be like, why would I purchase that 3080 when I can just get like a used 1080 for like $300.
Yeah, I
But
just I
yeah,
can't.
I mean, like I can't imagine that. I mean, when was the 2080 released? Was it 2018?
See,
Yes.
2080 was it?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
remember I got a 1070 in my PC in 2017. It was my sophomore year of college, and immediately the next year they announced the 2080, and I was like, ah, rough.
Yeah, okay, so it was the 2080 and the 2080 Ti. It's I think what was controversial about it is that it has a better performance than both of those, but is the same price as them. Basically, people who upgraded from a 1080 to a 2080 paid a ton of money and didn't get a huge upgrade, but people who are going to go from a 1080 to a 3080 will pay the same amount and get a massive upgrade.
Yeah,
I
that makes
think that's what
sense.
it was.
I know, that makes sense. I mean, the same goes for the i7s and the i9s and whatever that. What is it, i10? What's the newest?
Yeah, the i10s are actually out and they're not good.
Yeah,
All of the 10th generation stuff so far is actually just, it's not doing well. Like,
I
it's
know
performing at
compared
about
to
the same
the
speed as an 8th gen.
yeah, I know the AMD is rocking on that front
Yeah.
at least. Their processors are doing a lot better.
If we're
Apparently,
looking at the user benchmark site for the GPUs, like overall like difference between a 2080 and a 1080 is about 17%
so not
increase.
crazy.
Nothing crazy. So then if we go from a
It's like
2080 and
20 frames.
yeah, right. And then if we change from a instead of 1080 2080, 1080 versus 3080, you're getting an 86% increase.
Wow,
So
that's
for the
huge.
same price as a 2080, you can get a 3080 and get an 86% increase
Yeah,
in
I can see where that
performance.
would be a little like
For the people who paid,
what's the point?
600 bucks for a 20 for a 20 something and barely got any increase. Now, if they had just waited an extra couple of years and bought a 3080, they could have had a almost a 90% increase in
That's just
performance.
how it goes. I mean, Apple does it every year.
Yeah. I mean, it's
They're
relatively
like,
the same.
hey, you buy our new iPhone. It's got 3 cameras and it's super fast and slim. And then you buy it and you put $1,100 into it for a decent one. And then next November comes around, they're like, hey, buy our new Apple iPhone 12, and you're like, so, really?
You're like, son of a bitch, I haven't even paid off mine.
Yeah, I'm still working on this one. So that's how they get you. They make you, I don't know, they
So,
make you
like,
get you in 3-year contracts, and then you can't. It's silly.
yeah.
I just
But
want
I
you to know,
mean,
by the way,
so,
it's an 86% increase for just the 3080, not the 3080 Ti or
Oh,
3090. I
hmm,
don't know if there is a Ti actually.
I mean, that's only like 10 FPS.
Well, the 3090, which is significantly more expensive, it goes from 700 to 1500. But if you got a 3090 from a 1080, it'd be 120% increase.
I
So
mean, so one thing that they have me on is they just look good. They look really
they do
fucking
look
they look
nice.
really
very
nice.
clean.
Compared to my 1070, I looked at the 3080 and I was like, I like that, like, kind of like that. I don't know. It gives me like a.
So clean.
It looks like a PS4 like stick, not stick, but like like the D-pad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
kind of has the similarities to
Yeah,
like a
it
PS4
does. It
D-pad.
does. It does similarly kind of look like it, like
And
expanded
yeah,
on
I
the
like it.
sides.
I like the fan. I
Yeah,
like
it
it. It's
looks good.
clean. Because they for a while they look kind of clunky and funky.
I did notice that the graphics cards started looking more and more kind of like square chunks of metal rather than like something that you want in your PC, and you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess it gives me better frames, so I'll stick it in there.
I'm actually really happy with my 1080. When I built my PC, it was right before that whole Bitcoin
Yeah,
fiasco.
I ended up
Simply
getting
to
my
put it.
1080 for like I think it was like 300 or 400 bucks. Yeah,
Jeez.
I got really lucky. I found that it was right when the
New?
Bitcoin things. No, yeah, it was right when the Bitcoin started going on, and they were literally nowhere to be found. And I managed to just grab one off the fucking like randomest place on the internet for like 400 bucks. And I was like, damn, that wasn't
Wow.
bad. Yeah,
I think I felt like I got mine at a cheap price because I got it for like 575.
yeah. I don't know where it was wild, man. It was a good time. I
I
was
don't know
happy.
if I'd upgrade. I think if I was gonna upgrade anything, I think I'd upgrade my CPU first because I have an i7 7700. That thing's starting to
Yeah,
throttle on newer games.
mine's starting to get there because I've got a AMD 1700.
Yeah, I like the little thing.
Okay.
It worked well for 3 years, but it's starting to like sputter out, and you can tell it's the wear and tear from 3 years of heavy use and gaming use has been hard on it.
I need a new motherboard actually for my computer. My all of my like connection points for like the DVI cable for the 144 monitor and all that stuff is all starting to kind of become a little loose and jiggle around. So occasionally like my monitor, my not my 144 gaming one, but my alternate monitor will sometimes randomly just shut off.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that sometimes. It gets it gets a little loose, and like
yeah,
sometimes if
yeah.
slam the desk like I do occasionally, it pops out, and you're like, ah, shit.
All right, so from the 3080s, obviously, I guess I just give it a little more time and we'll see the stats that come out and see if it's even worth it. I don't actually think they made that many of them, which is the second controversial issue is that it was like
Yeah,
ridiculously impossible to get one.
it looks like I mean on their website everything looks like it's been.
But I mean, I think that's how that was though with the 2082, wasn't it? Like everything was sold out immediately. Like they just didn't make a whole lot of them and they just slowly produced them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll probably be the same for this. But moving on to the next point of topic, which is something that Mezzy brought up. I'm unfamiliar with this game. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Nelly, but Biomutant is what you said, Mezzy.
I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with
You want to tell us about that one?
So the game initially was announced in 2018 at Gamescom. It's basically you're like a raccoon mixed with the rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're just like an upright little animal that's capable of doing some crazy shit.
Sweet.
But they classify it as a third-person open-world RPG, mixed with martial arts combat, where you've got like a sword, a gun, and what they call a mutant ability action. Honestly, I don't know what the mutant ability actions are. They haven't really released a whole lot about it, but this combat looks incredible. You're flipping through the air, slashing enemies up, and then finishing them off with your pistol. And it all just looks really fluid and really clean. It's supposed to be releasing this year, but they don't have an official release date. They just have 20. But
2020.
yeah, I mean, the art looks pretty cool. It's kind of childlike. It is reminiscing of original Borderlands and like Sly Cooper almost to me. Not
Gotcha.
quite for like the graphics, but the the atmosphere that it provides.
Gotcha. Looking at the pictures, it looks really nice.
Yeah, and
I
then there's
mean,
like these mechs that you can get in. If you watch the videos on their Steam page, it's like a Titan from Titanfall where you're
yeah.
just walking around. But there's just an incredible ecosystem that's built around the game and tons of different unique animals. And I'm really excited for it. I want to see what it can do, you know?
Is it only coming out? Is it coming out on PC or is it just Switch? Because I see something here for the Switch, but
I honestly haven't seen anything on Switch, but I know it's going to be releasing on Steam.
okay. Okay, so it's definitely so you can get it on platforms: PlayStation, Xbox One, and Windows. Yeah, gotcha. I don't know why somebody had a picture of it and something else with the Switch. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it looks like it's coming out on everything, so that's gonna be cool. I don't mind
That'll be nice.
non-exclusive games.
That actually reminds me, not really intended to go here, but Biomutant reminds me of, I don't know if any of you have looked into it, but it came out a while ago, but it was exclusive, unfortunately, to just Xbox, but it was Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
I played Outer Worlds. Yeah, I played it on I played it on their Xbox Game Pass thing on my
Yeah, it
Actually,
was.
it's not an exclusive. I have that on PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
It's on
Is it,
everything.
it's a well now it is. Yeah, it's been it's well it's not on PC quite yet.
It's through
Um
Microsoft.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
through
get it through
Microsoft. They released it on the Xbox for a good while first, and then I think now it's releasing elsewhere. I was not did not know that it was on PlayStation though. But I do know it's the outer. Yeah, I don't think it's out on PC yet on Steam, but
I see it on Epic Games.
can you play it?
Uh,
Or is
yeah,
it still
looks like
okay? So it's just
actually on
Steam.
sale for $30 right now.
Okay, interesting. So apparently it's just not out on Steam yet, but Steam is the only one that says they've planned release date is 2020. We're 9 months into 2020. We'll see if it ever actually comes out on 2020. But um, it kind of reminds me of that, where it's just that open world kind of chaotic is what it kind of looks like, and you just kind of do whatever you want to do. But I'm assuming there's missions and stuff in it.
There were, yeah, it's pretty fun. It kind of reminded me of a Fallout almost in terms of
Heavily.
Well, yeah,
like factions.
the people who made Fallout 3 and New Vegas are the
Yeah,
ones who
the
made this.
original.
Yeah, the original like two Fallouts that were third person and not RPG games. Um, RPG games, RTS games. The original like Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 were very different than Fallout 3 and
Well,
New
an RTS is
Vegas.
like a simulator game, so it'd be like Civilization 6. RPG would be like a role play game, so you play as a
Yeah, yeah.
character through a story.
Okay, so yeah, it is considered a role playing game.
Yeah, it's an RPG, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
So
role-
yeah, Fallout 1, Fallout 2 were the isometric like role playing games. And then Fallout 3 and New Vegas were the like you play as the first person character or third person depending on how you chose to play it. But anyway, yeah, the people who made those two, I think are the same ones that made Outer World. But Outer World gives me the same atmospheric vibes that Biomutant does, where you kind of just run around and do whatever you want to do and make your own story, but like in a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah, very much so. I think it'll be a really cool game once it is finally released.
I'm excited. I'll keep an eye on it actually.
Yeah, wishlist it.
Yeah, honestly, at this point. Um, moving on to, unless you have anything else you want to say about it.
Nah.
Moving on
Covers.
to actually the next game, which was Nelly brought up, which is the Halo delay to 2021. Do you know what the delay was about?
I don't think they actually specified. They kind of pulled like a cyberpunk and said, "Well, this will take a little longer than we want to. We don't want to rush a game, so we're gonna, delay the game and try and get it in the most, I don't know, perfect state we can for release before people start to criticize." And I think what happened was people were disappointed with the way it was looking. It's like 2 years since the last Halo, and it wasn't a great Halo in my opinion, but some may have different opinions. Um,
Yeah, I've heard
and
some very differing opinions.
they were I think people were a little like disappointed with how the trailer came out, and even the announcer seemed like he was kind of trying to keep as much information from public as possible in regards to like letting someone down. If they can keep you interested in the possibility of what could be instead of what is, then they can
Yeah,
most likely get there. They have a more likely chance to get money.
yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the public was kind of like, this doesn't look like what I was expecting to get from Halo.
Yeah, I think one of the major complaints that I heard about, but it actually interested me, was a lot of people were very disappointed with the graphics that came out with the trailer. Like, and I had to say, even when I watched the trailer, it was the graphics that they came out with were very simplistic. It was like the best way to describe it would be like if you had an HD simplistic texture pack from Minecraft. Like that's the best way to put it. Like it's realistic looking, but it's very simplified. There's not like excessive detail, right? Like even in the main picture of Halo Chief on the picture, which I'll post a picture on the video if anybody's actually watching the video or anything. Otherwise, people can look it up. But even his armor just looks very almost basic like, which even Halo 3 and Halo 4, like they had, it almost seemed like their armor was even more detailed. Even Halo Reach, like the armor was so detailed that it made it feel almost next gen. But this one felt like they went back in time to like almost Halo Combat Evolved type armor. And I think one of the things I saw on Twitter was them actually responding to the people and saying, "We hear you saying that the graphics are not what you expected, and so we are going to change them and make them more, I guess, advanced." I don't remember the tweet that they said, but it was one of the developers tweeted out on his like account, and he said, "Hey, we hear you. We're gonna take a look at it and work on it." And so I think that contributed probably pretty heavily to the delay to 2021, because now they have to go back and retexture everything, which Lord knows how much they've actually done or textured already.
It could take a while.
Yeah, you know the most about texturing, so you know how long that takes.
Yes, it takes from the considering that I'm not super great at modeling and texturing, but I do enjoy it. The beside putting modeling aside, because I cannot model to save my life, the texturing is fun, but yeah, it definitely takes a lot of time, especially if it's a very specific look that you're going for. It takes a ton of, you know, laying down base textures and retexturing it, and just adding small finishes and touches to it till you finally get what you want. Then on top of that, you have to make it work when it's moving and all that stuff, and just yeah, there's a lot to it. So hopefully when it's released, it'll be a good Halo. I did not get as much of a Halo fan as I am, I did not get Halo 5, mostly because I heard that Chief was not in it very much, and I was like, I don't really care for a Halo that doesn't have Master Chief in it very much. So I did not get it. And that was the one that was very, like, had very differing opinions on, you know?
Yeah, I didn't like the Omega team that they brought into the newest Halo.
I watched a video on that, and I don't know how true this was, but the guy who was in the video was saying that the director for that Halo didn't even know who the main character was, and I was like, "There's no way. That can't be. You can't."
I heard that as well.
Do you think? I mean, I don't
I'm
know if that's
pretty sure it's
true.
true. I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, how do you not know who the main character of one of the biggest series of all time in gaming history? Like,
Probably wasn't a gamer.
I just
That was just a.
that you say if you heard that, then in my opinion, then it has to be somewhat true, because I feel like that's just such a random fact that if people were to hear that at this point, it had to have been true. But that blows my mind, for a series that's been going on for so long and is such an iconic character that you wouldn't even know that he's the main character, which is why they created I don't know his name, but the whoever that leader is of that company that was supposed to hunt him down in that one. And they were trying to make him the main character of the series, and I was like, wait a minute, you can't do that. Chief is the main character. So yeah, that was a wild fact to come across, if that's true or not. I don't have anything else to say on that. I just that's
Yeah,
just
it just seems like a mess.
yeah.
It's
Unfortunately, Bungie did an excellent job. I do not like Destiny though.
I don't like what Destiny became.
I like Destiny first year until they introduced the reset that made all of your current gear and weapons underleveled completely, like
They do
back to
that.
level 1
Yeah, they do
every
that like
year.
every year. Yeah,
Yeah,
all this
it's
stuff you grind so hard for, and you're like, wow, look, I have the best items and gear for PvP and stuff. Becomes
eh,
useless once the newest season comes out because then
it's a
the
terrible
fight level
model.
goes down.
And like they do have the ability to upgrade those items to the like highest level stats, which I appreciate. That got added after like a full 3 years, maybe
A full
4 years,
too long basically to
like the
make it
year
relevant.
before Destiny 2 came out. That's when it got introduced.
I remember right when I was right it wasn't the first Destiny. I used to have a vault full of all like the vaults of glass stuff that I was super proud of, like having the
Yep.
weapons and the fusion rifle that was apparently really rare to get, and being like, hey, look, I have this, and then all of a sudden the newest thing comes out, newest expansion, and all of a sudden all that really 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 good gear that you grind for in raids week in week out becomes useless,
Yep. Killed me.
and you have to replace it all these really good purples and exotics with greens and blues and stuff. You have to level up again. Just felt like a weird model. I know World of Warcraft kind of does that with gear too, but I don't know.
Those people are paying to grind. Like that is what they enjoy. That's just the
It's true.
model of World of Warcraft. Like
You like grinding? Welcome to World of Warcraft.
I will be spending a little while playing that next expansion. It's gonna be
Yep.
interesting. They've changed the level cap from 120 to 60. So I'm interested in seeing how that's been implemented.
All right. Anybody else got anything else they want to talk about?
nah, I think I'm good for today.
Yeah. All right. Well, just say, I guess, thank you to anybody that's watched this far. There's a link in the description of the video, or the podcast if you're watching it or just listening to it, but in the link of it on YouTube that will give you the Discord link. There is a Discord for this podcast. Anybody's welcome to join it. There's not a whole lot of people in it because it's just recently been made. And going forward, just letting everybody know, the podcast has kind of been started at a like weird time in the year, kind of in the middle of classes and whatnot like that. So going forward, we may not always have 4. We may even have 2 sometimes. It really just depends on scheduling and what people are up to. Sometimes some people get a little busy with work, or they may just be out of town. In this case, Turtle is extremely busy with work, and hopefully he'll be joining us soon if all goes well at work, and then maybe he can come and play some games even. Anybody that's wondering, I'll actually post a link as well in the description for everybody's Twitch that's in here. I don't know, Mezzy, if you want yours posted or not, you can let me know later.
Throw my YouTube up.
Their YouTube?
That's
Okay.
all I really do anymore.
Gotcha. Well, I'll throw Mezzy's YouTube up, and I'll put it in Nelly's Twitch channel and my Twitch channel. Both Nelly and I stream. I think with Among Us being a game recently that all of us enjoy, there'll probably be a couple Among Us streams because they're quite entertaining, that's for sure. All right, with that, that's it, and we'll call it here.